Welcome. This is the first video of Module 1. I'm going to be talking about the construction process and the people involved in a construction project, or I'll call it the players, key players in a construction project. In an overview, construction projects usually entail anything from a shopping mall, an airport, a major highway interchange, overpass, something like that, all the way down to something as simple as a single family house or even an addition to the house, home improvement type thing. It still falls under the same process of what we're going to talk about with regards to the construction project. So construction projects arise because of need. Whenever there's a need from people, there's somebody willing to fill the need for the right price. And that's where construction projects come into play. Construction is obviously a huge industry in America. It was an essential industry during COVID and never shut down. It was a platform that, while it didn't come through, at least not yet, it won't during this term, but President Trump ran on the platform of rebuilding America's infrastructure, basically appealing to the construction side of things and the people that are involved in the construction industry. So construction is a huge factor in things. So the players involved generally start with an owner. The owner of land, the owner of that project, the owner of that property where something is going to be built. And that owner could be a private owner or a public owner. It could be a town, county, municipality, government, state government, federal government. It could also certainly be an individual owner or a company that might own the land for which a project is going to be built upon. The next thing that your book describes, and it's generally a trend that I've seen it in the last 20 years or more, where you have a construction manager. That manager used to generally be one person who would be the owner's agent. And by that, I mean that owners aren't completely familiar with all the ins and outs of a construction project. While sophisticated owners generally know what to expect in a construction project, they don't know every detail, nor do they want to handle every detail. So they hire a construction manager. Well, more recently, the trend has been for that construction manager to be a whole company, an actual team of people that are there to facilitate the owner's ability to construct whatever it is they want to build. And that team would include people that are familiar with the various disciplines involved in a construction project, as well as the financing. That team may even assist in securing financing for a construction project. So over the years, the construction manager has really evolved into something that is very, very useful and very handy to the owner. If you were to look on figures 1.2 and 1.3 of your book, you'll see an outline and a diagram of this process. One of the things that I want to point out, and the book does a reasonable job of it, is that the construction manager should be the agent for the owner. If you're getting into the construction management side and you eventually get to a place where you're able to help an owner in this capacity, you don't want the liability that some of the diagrams show you. You actually want to be an agent of the owner, not the one that does all the hiring and does all the firing and handles the entire project. That's a different position where you'll need a lot of insurance and a lot of fortitude to come through on that one. And that person would be known as the prime contractor or the general contractor. Locally, everybody refers to them as the GC. general contractor. The general contractor is the person that is ultimately responsible for everyone underneath them, and every supplier, the subcontractors, so the various disciplines that are needed, and I'll explain that as we get into the class lecture this week. But the prime contractor, that general contractor, is over top of everything. Just picture him the tip of the umbrella and everything that falls from him, the top of the tree, so to speak, where everything underneath is what's necessary to build something, and it all funnels back to one person. One of the things that has happened, I would say most prevalent in the past 20 years, and the book describes it in pretty good length, and we'll go over it in more length, is the design, bid, build function that owners require now. What generally happens is an architectural firm, sometimes an architectural / engineering firm, will be the actual design, bid, build person. In other words, they're going to be the prime contractor, the architect. Everything will run through the architectural company or engineering company, more often the architectural company. And so the owner will hire this construction manager, but they'll also hire the architect. And that architect then, from there, actually will hire and facilitate the prime contractor, the general contractor. They'll actually pick which one. With the owner's guidance, they'll put out a bid. They'll design a building, they'll design a bridge, they'll design a road. They'll put the plans out for bid. And at that point, they'll hire the general contractor. And that general contractor then will go through the entire process to get something built while the architect oversees the entire thing. So it's a step in the middle, and it's a useful step because it puts a professional design professional in charge of an entire project, which is exactly what design professionals are meant to do. So coming up in the next lecture, we'll talk a little more about design build, and then I'll conclude this week's lectures with entities and forms of ownership.